Genshin has a huge problem. It's not the poor rewards, it's not the events, it's not the gameplay. No, in fact, these are all smaller issues that fall under the umbrella of one major issue with the game. The community. And I find the timing both comedic and sad because apparently there's a lot of drama going around in the Genshin community with some other CCs right now. Things I had no clue about. But this is a video I've had planned for a while, so I'll preface this by saying that this video has nothing to do with any of the current drama going on. It's just immaculate timing. Anyway, the community still sucks. And I don't mean this part of the community. And I don't mean this part of the community. These parts of the community are bad, but I'm not even talking about them. The main reason for a lot of Genshin's problems right now is a result of this game. stioorg does right everything that Genshin does wrong, and it's a living proof that Genshin could be a much better game if the community cared enough. But we'll get to that. See, I'm not even a Genshin hater, or even a hater of the community for that matter. Why am I talking like that? They obviously have moments that are just awful, but there's no bad without good and vice versa, so of course they have great moments in there as well. The gameplay itself also isn't exactly the issue here, because Genshin is a story game. If you're playing Genshin, you shouldn't be playing it for a comp experience. You're playing it to see how the story and characters build the world. You don't play a Telltale game and then get mad if there aren't enough QuickTime events, right? Or maybe you do, but you can't blame the game for it not meeting your personal standard, despite the game clearly not being presented that way. Like being mad that there aren't enough deaths in Disney Princess Enchanted Journey. What are these comparisons? The point I'm making is that there's nothing wrong with the game itself. Okay, hold up. Yes, there is, but that's not what I'm nitpicking right now. The lack of quality of life updates or changes is a result of the community. Let me try to put this in a way that I understand better. What do these two games have in common? Almost nothing. But what do these two companies have in common? No, really, take a guess, take a guess. A company that makes sports games and a company that makes fantasy gacha games. The biggest similarity between the two is their content. And being content is a dangerous thing. See, with NBA 2K, each year the game releases with minor gameplay changes and graphics updates, but the games are usually pretty similar despite being promised many things that are never delivered on. The reason they can get away with it is because they've built such a large and powerful fan base that'll buy into the game regardless of what it looks like, simply because they're devout members of the 2K community. How does that apply to Genshin Impact? Is because Genshin Impact is arguably the biggest and most influential gacha game out there at the moment, and their community works similarly to 2K's in the sense that no matter what they release, the community will eat it up and defend it, saying things like, if you don't like it, then just don't play, while they continue to play, or stop spending money on characters, while proceeding to go band for band with the Primo Gems shop. Again, being content is dangerous. Genshin gets horrible rewards, but the community is so attached to the game that they'll defend anything in it. They've received a lot of heat for their recent anniversary rewards, but I've seen people defending it by saying stuff like,
well, actually, you can get X amount of pulls by doing yada yada yada.
Look, milking the game dry isn't fun in my opinion, nor is it practical. Just because something is possible doesn't mean there's a good reason to do it. Jigsaw can strap you to a booby trap and say,
hello, do you want to play a game?
You have 3 minutes to cut off your entire arm with a butter knife using only your mouth, and then drain your bone marrow through a straw and insert it into this bone marrow machine. Sure, you can do it, but that doesn't mean it's not gonna be a pain. And that's the obviously exaggerated point that I'm making here. Genshin's problem is that for people looking for something more than a story experience, it's not a beginner-friendly game. And with each update, old characters continuously get power creep. So even for veteran players, you have to constantly be maintaining and managing your account to keep it in peak condition. And as stated before, the game lacks any real quality of life updates. So to be forced into doing something like that just to keep up is an issue, and the diehard fans of the game will try and argue against that with their life. Now, something I should have said at the start of the video is, when I say quote-unquote the community, keep in mind I'm referring specifically to the delusional diehards, not the casual players, not the players that make memes on the game, and not even the players that cosplay and go to cons and stuff like that. Because honestly, there's really nothing wrong with doing any of that. It's harmless. I'm talking specifically about the people that'll turn a disagreeable opinion into a personal attack. The people who see criticism as hating. The people who value pride over product. And in choosing to defend your game despite it having very clear room for improvement, you stunt the growth. I gotta give Honkai stioorg their flowers because they've listened to the community and made massive quality of life updates, such as raising the cap on energy, adding an offline energy storage, and not time locking their events. But what's important to keep in mind is that these weren't always in the game. Every race starts from the block, but some just run further and faster ahead. Honkai Star Rail's community was willing to come together and rally against or for certain things, and when a community voices their opinion, a good dev team will listen, which the HSR team did. But on the flip side, in the Genshin Impact community, you've got a handful of people arguing that things need a change, but then you've got 6 times as many people saying that everything is okay. Mob mentality doesn't make someone right, but as a game dev, is it not easier to just discard and or blacklist the minority for the sake of the overwhelming majority that's defending you? Even if that majority is quite frankly wrong, and I'd even argue uncaring about the game. Even if the groups were at a theoretical 50-50 split, it just feels better to listen to good things said about you rather than bad ones. So I'd even argue that Hoyoverse would still listen to the Genshin supporters because they yell a bit louder. And when you've got oddities that can yell louder than the supporters, you end up with people like Tectone or mtshed that get hate, cancelled, blacklisted just for being in opposition. Even I myself was called lesbian phobic for defending Tectone, and honestly, getting cancelled feels good. I love it. Drama! Twitter, more drama, please! The Genshin community's powerful, I'll admit it, but that's power in the wrong hands, because if they just admit that the game isn't as good as they claim, there'd be nothing at all stopping Genshin from being just as great, if not greater, than their sister games like Honkai Star Rail. Genshin's communities got the key to success, but they just can't find the lock. Or maybe it's more appropriate to say that they have the key to success, but they don't want to find the lock. Genshin's community doesn't suck, but Genshin's community sucks, and they have a massive problem that needs to be fixed. I don't care if you all argue in the comments, and I don't care if you disagree with me, but try to keep it tame if you can. I'm just gonna end this video very abruptly. I'm kidding. The Genshin community needs to get it together. Review bombing other games, canceling anyone that speaks out, and all of the like just aren't it. All I'm saying is that you need to stop letting the Genshin devs get comfortable. Make them do better, because if you don't, I assure you that someday you're gonna start understanding and feeling the problems just as much as others already are. And when you let devs get content, the content creators get content. And you end up with situations like the one we have going on right now, where people are butting heads and making things personal attacks on each other's lives, which it just shouldn't be. A game is never that serious. But let me know what y'all think, and feel free to add whatever you agree with or disagree with. I'm gonna catch y'all boys and girls in the next one, alright? We out this piece. Yeah.